Racism happens in every single country, whether or not you want to believe it, whether or not you want to accept it and acknowledge it, it is something that happens. This is Evan. Welcome back to my channel. I hope that you guys are all doing well, that you're staying safe and taking care of yourselves and taking care of each other. If it's your first time here, welcome. My name is Diana. Welcome to my channel. I talk about my life as an expat living and working in Berlin, Germany. I've been here for over 3 years now, and this is my channel where I share my journey with all of you. So if you are new, make sure to stick around if you are interested in moving and living in Germany as well. So today we're going to talk about a topic that has probably been on everybody's minds for the last couple of weeks and has really been brought to the attention of a lot of people. And I'm going to be sharing my thoughts on racism in Germany and what I have witnessed so far during my time that I have been here. This really came to my attention that I should speak a bit more about it when the protests happened in Berlin last week to support the Black Lives Matter movement. And I have been, very supportive and being an advocate for the Black Lives Matter movement over on my Instagram, and I've been sharing my thoughts and just sharing resources so that we can all have a much more open conversation about this, because I am just completely sick of the injustices that have been done to the Black community, and I think it's there should be no room for that in our world anymore. So I really wanted to speak up about it. So what happened is last week over on my Instagram, I shared a video which showed police brutality in Berlin. It was the police attacking some of the people at the protest. And when I posted this video, people had mixed reviews. Some people were like, thank you so much for sharing this and for, speaking about this, because not a lot of people know that this happens. Other people were in complete shock that racism is still alive in Germany, and they had no idea that this happens in Berlin and in Germany. And then other people were completely against me sharing the video and were saying that I shouldn't talk about it and I should just ignore it and, not post this content. And for me, I really had to take a step back once I posted this, and I had to listen to myself and think, what is the right thing to do here? Should I talk about this? Should I ignore it? Should I listen to those people who tell me not to get involved in talking about this? And the conclusion that I came to is that I should have a more open conversation with all of you about this, and I should share my thoughts and opinions of when it comes to racism in Germany. I think that when we have open conversations and when we tackle the issues in our society, it's going to allow us to grow, it's going to allow us to unite. And I don't want to be one of those people that ignores it or doesn't talk about it and doesn't share my thoughts. And I feel like given the platform that I have, it would be completely irresponsible of me, really, not to talk about it and just to disregard it, especially since I know I have viewers from all over the world who are interested in moving here as well and are interested to get a real life perspective of what it looks like to live here and to experience day-to-day life here. And I don't want to sugarcoat anything, and I don't want to make it seem like things here are sunshine and rainbows and butterflies all the time, because that's clearly not the case. Now, I just want to preface that racism is not just unique to the US or to Germany. That is not the case. The majority of racist things that happen on the day-to-day basis happen behind closed doors. So it's not something that people talk about. It's not something that they post on social media. It's not something that you are going to see visibly, especially if you are not a person of color and you've never experienced this in your life. You'll probably be quite oblivious to the fact that it happens. Now, I have seen racism happen in the US when I've been there. I have seen it happen in Canada as well, even though Canada is a very multicultural country. I have seen it happen across several countries that I have traveled to. And of course, I've also seen racism happen here in Germany. Racism happens in every single country, whether or not you want to believe it, whether or not you want to accept it and acknowledge it. It is something that happens in every single country, and every single country has their own biases, they have their own way of thinking, and they have their own injustices that happen. Now, also, I don't want to scare any of you who want to move here. I got a lot of messages from people saying that they were now scared to move here, and by all means, I am not trying to make this video to scare you, nor do I think you should be scared. Like I said, every single country has injustices that happen and has racism that happens behind closed doors that doesn't get posted to social media. But the reason why I am sharing this is because I do want to have that open conversation. I want to be honest with you guys, and I want to speak about something that probably not a lot of people talk about, and also just so that we can all be aware of the changes that still need to be made. Now, I do want to say that Germany is still an amazing country. I still advocate that you move here if you want to live here, if you want to experience the German culture, if you want to have an experience of moving abroad and working abroad. Germany is so open for that. It provides so many foreigners with so many amazing opportunities, and I still think it's an amazing country. So I don't want you to be scared about moving here, but just know that some things do happen here as well, like it happens in so many other countries too. Of course, I will never be able to understand the struggles that Black people have gone through, or that people of color have gone through, all of the injustices that they have experienced, because I do have white privilege and I have never been hated on because of the color of my skin. So I don't know what that feels like. And all I can do is learn about this. All I can do is have these open conversations, and I can do a better job of standing up against these injustices next time that I witness them, and calling out people for being hateful towards others for the color of their skin. So I can only share right now what I have seen happen and what I have heard from my friends who are of color and have experienced racism in Germany. Somewhere in Berlin where it is so obvious that racism still exists is at the clubs. And I have witnessed this with my own eyes, being with my friends, and it is something that makes me so angry, and I want to talk about it because I don't think a lot of people talk about it. And it is the fact that there are very racist people working at the club as bouncers. I have experienced this with my friends where we go out and we line up to get into a club, and I will get in and the rest of my white friends will get in, but our Black friends or our friends who are minorities will not get in because of the color of their skin. And it is so obvious because the bouncers will give them such a hard time. They will look them up and down and then just turn them away. This is something that I think everyone in Berlin knows. They know that a person of color will have a much harder time getting into the club. I've never seen anybody stand up to a bouncer here and say, you know what, this is bullshit, that is racist. Nobody ever does that. But I'm hoping that now that we've all had open conversations about this, we're now speaking about it, we're all addressing these issues, that we will actually stand up against these people, because it is, of course, completely unjust. And next time I witness this, I will also stand up for my friends, because I am just embarrassed actually that I never did stand up for them and that I didn't make a bigger deal out of it, and I just sort of let these bouncers get away with it. So yeah, that is a very obvious place where it happens. Another thing that I witnessed as well was I was walking once with my friend. We were crossing the street and she is Chinese, and some man from across the street started throwing orange peels at her. And I don't exactly remember what he said, but he was saying racist remarks and calling her yellow and throwing orange peels at her for no reason. We didn't talk to this man. We didn't even acknowledge him. And I didn't really notice what happened until I fully crossed the street with her. And she said that man was just saying all of these things to me and was throwing all of these orange peels at me for no reason. So it happened, and I was in shock. I thought, what? Like, we just crossed the street. Like, how did this happen? I was just completely in shock. I didn't know what to say, how to react at the time. It happened so quickly, and that's the thing to know. Racism and racist remarks can happen very quickly, and you may not even realize it, especially if you are a person of privilege, that it happened. It may be in retrospect that you realize, oh wow, like that happened right in front of me and I didn't even realize it or acknowledge it, which is again why it's so important for us to have these conversations so that next time we see it and we witness it, we can actually stand up against it and we can actually be there for our friends who go through this. Another situation that I was made aware of is by my boyfriend Josh. He is Indian Canadian, and one of our friends from Toronto was visiting last summer. He is Iranian Canadian, and they went to watch the Formula One race in this small German town called Hockenheim. And Josh told me that as they were leaving the race and making their way back to their car, there was a group of men just yelling out the name Muhammad. And they were yelling it really loud, and it was clearly directed towards them because they were the only people of color with a darker skin tone there. And they just kind of, didn't say anything. They walked away, and they walked really fast towards their car. And yeah, that was just, I can imagine a scary situation being in a town that you're not familiar with, which with a group of probably super drunk racist people, and that could have been, something that could have turned really ugly if it escalated. So I'm glad that he told me about this way later, because he didn't tell me as soon as it happened, because I probably would have been really worried while they were there. But yeah, that is just an example of things that can happen. And a lot of people also like to say, oh yeah, racism in Germany only exists in the smaller towns. But of course, as I mentioned through the previous stories, it's not just unique to the smaller towns, but it can happen in the bigger cities as well. So yeah, those are some of the examples that I have witnessed, and I'm sure there's many, many others that happen on a daily basis that I am not aware of or that people don't talk about, but it happens. And like I said at the beginning, this is not to scare any of you who want to come here. That's not my intention. Like I said, Germany provides so many amazing opportunities, but there's just room for improvement here, like there is in any other country, whether that be Canada or the US or whatever country you are from. And I just wanted to point out some of the experiences that have happened to my friends here that just really make me angry and break my heart. And I just wanted to bring it to your attention. And this is just to spread awareness on the issue. But I hope that you guys have learned something about this through this video. I hope that you're willing to have more open conversations and we're not scared to talk about this or brush it under, the rug and just ignore it. And yeah, I'm just here if you guys want to talk. If you guys have any questions or you want any other type of videos related to living or working in Germany, feel free to leave them in the comments. And I just want to say thank you so much to everybody. Thank you so much for your support. And please don't forget to support each other and take care of each other. And I will talk to you all in my next one. Tschüss!